Caleb could go to a bone picker this turn if he'd like. There's a swamp.
Is that the 3/2 flyer?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We are going deep.
It can cost a single black sometimes. Emphasis on sometimes.
It's either side, creature dies on the other side?
I think it's whenever just a creature dies. We can take a look at Bone Picker here in just a moment.
I don't know if it's just theirs or if it's both.
Scrap Heap Scrounger to the play. Some people have called it the new Delver. It's a bit strong. that's a bit strong.
The new Delver.
If a creature died this turn. Incendiary Flow taking care of Scrap Heap Scrounger. Clean Answer exiles it too. I would just call it the first Bone Picker. That's what I would call it. And not so much the new Delver.
Yeah, the big difference between that card and Delver is the Delver you just cast on the first turn.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's a meaningful distinction.
Yeah. Here is Liliana, the last hope. Very powerful Planeswalker, of course. See how Caleb wants to go about using it. Just going to plus and pass. Jason Bennet. We'll shock Liliana. And now it's time to untap and draw. Storm Chaser Mage. Also has a copy of Chandra in hand. That's a Gyre Root Sanitarium. I haven't seen that one for a little while. There's Chandra. This is going to be a hard card for Caleb, I think.
Yeah, he has a couple copies of Never to Return, but this is going to be either 2 cards a turn or just a lot of removal. A lot to work through here.
Chandra going to take care of Liliana. We know which Planeswalker reigns supreme. Now, fortunately for Caleb, he does have a copy of Never once again to be able to take care of Chandra. And I think that has to be done right away.
So the problem in the matchup for Sherer when it goes like this is Bennet has 2 very powerful trumps in Chandra Torture Defiance and Bedlam Reveler. That's just a lot of card advantage, a lot of presence on the battlefield. So it's incumbent on Sherer to be the aggressor in the matchup, and I think we've gotten to the stage of the game where Bennett's got a pretty solid advantage.
Storm Chaser Mage. In for 1. Spire Elf Canal's one of the battlefield tapped, and we're going to head back over to Caleb. Caleb going to draw a card now. Picked up a Swamp. Going to play that land. And now here's Liliana. Going to go up to 4, slow down the Storm Chaser Mage a bit. Here's Scrap Heap Scrounger. And Caleb passes turn back over to Jason. Jason will untap those 3 lands and the Storm Chaser Mage, which has been shrunk in a big way thanks to Liliana. See what Bennet can put together here on what looks to be his 7th or 8th turn of the game. Fiery Temper in hand, among others, as he's going to take a look at the graveyard, I think, to do a check there for a Bedlam Reveler.
Plus the Sanitarium, plus the Fiery Temper.
You know what's going on. You got it all figured out.
Tell me about it.
Here's Bedlam Reveler, one that we have not seen a ton of. I know this one, when it was previewed, got a lot of hype to the Devil Horror.
I think this card's still awesome.
Fiery Temper.
I think it's going to get its chance.
Going to bring down Liliana to 1. Of course, when Bedlam Reveler enters the battlefield, discard your hand. Now, Storm Chaser Mage just going to get in there on the Liliana. Not going to kill it, of course.
Just keep it loose. Get your stretches in.
Hub the draw here for Caleb.
2 copies of Hub in his mono black deck, I think, just for the Siphoner.
Scrounger, of course, going to attack because can't block So, yeah. That. I would attack with it. Caleb will take that damage. Excuse me, Jason will take that damage. Liliana up. Storm Chaser Mage. And now's the time for a full price Bone Picker.
Flip Delver.
Yeah.
Pre-flipped.
Yeah. Basically the new Delver. If you're cool with paying 4 mana.
Yep.
Jason will draw. Looks like he picked up a land. Storm Chaser Mage was targeted by Liliana, so it's small. What do we have here? Oh, Glorybringer. Finally! We get to see it.
This is a mushing right now.
Yeah, this is getting ugly out here. One of the very first cards previewed from Amonkhet has arrived. 5 mana 4/4 Flying Haste. You may exert Glorybringer as it attacks, which means you can not untap it for the next turn if you'd like. And when you do exert it, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls. So, deal with that. Bone Picker down. Life total getting eaten alive. Grasp of Darkness the draw. Glorybringer, a card you're a fan of?
Yes.
Seems to be a pretty good one to me.
Yep.
Not as pushed as, I don't think as pushed as Thundermaw, Hellkite, or Stormbreath Dragon were.
It's different. I mean, there's some worlds where I think Glorybringer is the best of the bunch, but yeah, it remains to be seen. Just very metagame dependent. There's some metagames where Stormbreath Dragon and Thundermaw, Hellkite's text boxes aren't nearly as good as Glorybringers, and some where the other's true. But it's in that range. Certainly will be a heavy feature of Standard.
Grasp of Darkness takes care of Bedlam Reveler. And now, Return will be played here from Caleb. Gonna exile something and get a 2/2 zombie for his troubles. The issue right now here for Caleb, at least in my opinion, just straight up, card quality, he's getting destroyed.
Yeah, and he has no good cards to draw to.
Yeah.
And Bennet has 4 copies of Wandering Ephemeral and a Gyre Reach Sanitarium, and Sherer's lands don't do anything. So more expensive spells, more impactful spells, more removal for Bennet, and he gets more value out of his lands as well.
Card quality being just a huge, huge issue thus far. Even if you just look at symbols, it's a lot of rares and mythics here for Jason. And I think he's going to be casting another one here in just a second, and he will. Collective Defiance, one of my favorites. He's going to escalate this in just a moment. You see how much mana he's tapped. Fiery Temper. Yeah, and Caleb says, I can't deal with this. This is too much for me to handle. And Jason Bennett's going to win game number 1 here over Caleb Sherer. Blue-Red Thermal Alchemist, even though its namesake card did not show up, currently up a game here over Caleb Sherer in his mono black aggro deck. To the sideboards is where we do prepare to go. As we get ready for that, I gotta say, I'm kind of digging on this blue-red deck to start.
That was a clinic.
That was a beatdown, right?
Yep. Just curved with some removal spells and then played some powerful late game cards where the game was never in question.
We take a look here. We'll start with Jason, who has 3 Magma Spray, through Reaver of Lightning. Take a look here. A couple more Glorybringers in the sideboard, 2 of those. 2 Release the Gremlins, 2 Sweltering Suns, 2 Negate, and a Dispel to work with. What do we like there against the mono black?
This sideboard couldn't possibly be better for this matchup. I think Glorybringer, Weaver of Lightning, Magma Spray, and Sweltering Suns are all awesome. And I think Bennet can get rid of the cards that are devoted purely to racing, like Thermal Alchemist or Fever Visions, and just grind down with removal and Glorybringers.
Yeah, I like a lot of what he's bringing in. I don't know what he wants to take out. I mean, Fever Visions, I think, is an easy cut. But I think he's got great options. And Glorybringer, I don't think is a card Caleb wants to play against at all.
No.
We saw the first one, and if there's going to be 2 or potentially 3 of these things showing up in a game,
I could see getting rid of the Storm Chaser Mages also, if you just assume Caleb's going to be loaded up on Fatal Pushes, and then all of your creatures are just Glorybringers and Bedlam Revelers, and Fatal Push is a dead card.
For Caleb, 4 Gifted Aetherborn. 4 Scarab Feast. A lot of that card this weekend. 3 Heart Scrutiny, 3 Transgress the Mind, and another copy of Liliana, The Last Hope.
I think he needs the 3 copies of Transgress. I think Liliana is good for a matchup where he's got to slog through a lot of removal, but not a whole lot to do here.
Yeah, I don't like this for Caleb. I'm not liking where this matchup's going.
Yeah, I thought initially that Sherer would be a lot more efficient to the table, which I think he is, but Bennet is just coming with so much quality cheap removal. And then post board, I mean, it's a lot. It's sweepers, it's 1-mana removal spells, it's creatures that dominate the battlefield if they're unchecked. I mean, Bennett's getting a lot of powerful cards here.
Well, those are the options there for both players. Caleb will be on the play here with his mono black aggro deck. So while we get ready here for game number 2, let's talk about Invitational Qualifier, something that Caleb and many others are very, very familiar with. We revamped how we're doing them. StarCityGames.com. Invitational qualifiers have exclusive prizes like $1,000 to the top 8 invitational qualifications, SCG points, top 8 playmat, top 8 pin, registration tokens, and so much more. Go to StarCityGames.com/IQ. Start your journey to the StarCityGames.com Invitational. First one going to be held in Roanoke, Virginia, the last weekend of June, beginning of July, and we'll be announcing details about that after Grand Prix Richmond, so just a handful of days away. Looking forward. Again, go to StarCityGames.com/IQ for more information. Start your journey to the StarCityGames.com Invitational. Caleb Sherer going to be on the play here with his mono black deck. It's an interesting deck. It's an interesting deck. It's got to get off to. It's got to start with a 1-drop. I'll say that.
Tell me who called Bone Picker the new Delver.
Who called it the new Delver?
You mentioned people have called this the new Delver. I want to know who those people are.
I've read it on the internet. I don't want to name names.
All opinions are held.
I don't want to name names. All I'm saying is I saw it. That's like calling Oath of Nyssa the Green Ponder.
Yep.
That's not a thing. That's just not a thing. It's just not a thing.
People like
comparing. It's lazy.
Of course
it's lazy and I hate it. I know what you're going to say, and I hate it.
More lazy analysis from the commentariat. Shocker.
This card's just this card. No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's different.
No, it's not.
It's different.
It's just way different, actually.
Yeah.
Is Jason going to keep 6? He will. He's going to scry. Caleb will start. Ooh, 1-drop. Yes.
I like Bennet there. Not even reading it. Yeah, I know. I know.
Is that Night Market lookout?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I thought.
Give him the old 1-1.
Ting. See, Tom Ross had an infatuation this with Smuggler's Copter.
Yeah.
Could really just kind of ting him to death, but then, dude, you have a Smuggler's Copter, so you're
you
fine.
went 1-drop Smuggler's Copter. Your opponent couldn't kill your Smuggler's Copter. Who cares?
Yeah, so you're just fine. That's a Magma Spray. Jeez.
Yeah, exiled.
Dread Wanderer down for good.
And both players on 1-landers.
Like it. Caleb has drawn a Swamp. Ting. Night Market Lookout Mania. This is fun. Whenever Night Market Lookout becomes tapped, each opponent loses a life, and you gain a life. A second land here for Caleb. And there's got to be a play here. You know what this deck would really like? Smuggler's Copter.
Be nice.
Yeah, another Night Market Lookout.
This is a deck that's in the market to discard cards that are in the deck. Yeah. If you know what I mean.
I read the same book.
Yeah.
Double ting.
Yep.
Caleb might end this game at 30.
Mm-hmm.
He's at 24.
Hey, yeah, you can get to. Oh, you can't get to 40.
I don't think he can get to 40.
Oh no, because they deal 2 and you only gain the 1. That's right.
40 is a bit much. That was fun.
Sweet.
That was neat. Jason only drew 1 land, then he conceded.
But you know what? Jason Mulligan saw 1 land. Didn't read the Night Market Lookout.
Knew already.
No emotional reaction to losing to those cards.
No.
Even after Caleb kept a 1-lander on the play.
No. It's nothing.
Bennet has given off a very professional demeanor in this match so far that I have liked a lot.
You've enjoyed that?
I have.
That's good. That's good.
His sideboard is just, his deck is at this point nothing but lands and cards that Caleb can never beat. Didn't draw any lands, and now we just go to game 3.
Cards that he can never beat.
Never beat. It's removal, it's sweepers, it's probably...
You picked Caleb to win before we went to the match.
Yeah, I thought he would be fine, but yeah, watching the games play out here, I think he's got enough cheap removal to break serve, and then if we're talking who's got the better late game, I don't think it's close. Because I thought he was all on the Thermo Alchemist, Fevered Vision sort of thing.
No, it's got more going on.
So much removal, and you know, a top end that I think is very hard for Caleb to compete with.
Well, these players are going to shuffle up here. Looks like Jason's going to go back to the drawing board really quick. So let's talk about the StarCityGames.com weekly sale very quickly, where we are just handing out playmats, just getting them out of the store, up to 50% off.
Yes. Every week over at Star City Games, there's a weekly sale. I went and indulged recently and picked up an order, so, you know.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we will. Make sure you'll be going back to the website once a week. The new sales start Monday, 11 a.m. East Coast time, run for a week. Right now, 50% off select playmats.
Now, let's talk about you.
Let's talk about me.
Ristic Cave.
I bought them out of foils. 15 foil Ristic Caves were on the website. Now there are 0. And they were on sale. I bought them all. I'm shuffling them around right now as we speak.
You have some things to say about Ristic Cave, I believe. You got some strong opinions about this card.
It's perhaps the worst design in the worst set of all time. I'm not even sure it works in the rules. And we have a design department that's roughly 15 people. And there were 15 Ristic Caves, so I thought I would get them as a gift to the design department.
That's nice of you. Game number 3 underway here, by the way, as Caleb is going to start off with a Dread Wanderer. And Jason with, that's game. That's Thermo Alchemist.
So this is not the approach. As I mentioned before, if I was in Bennet's spot, I would cut the Thermo Alchemist, I would cut the Fevered Visions, and probably the Storm Chaser Mages. And dead the deck to Fatal Push.
And Grasp of Darkness and stuff like
Mostly
that.
Grasp.
Okay.
And just try to grind them out with removal spells, Planeswalkers, and your Terminate creatures.
Big follow-up.
Especially because you're bringing in your copies of Sweltering Suns. I think that's another reason to get rid of your smaller creatures.
Look at harsh scrutiny here, folks. For those new, harsh scrutiny. First of all, Scry. Look at the value.
Yep.
And believe to take a creature. So Weaver of Lightning, which is also game against Caleb's deck. That's going to go to the graveyard. Yeah, Jason does have like all the tools.
I like this design a lot.
Okay.
I like the discard spells that are more. You miss a good percentage of the time, but when you hit, you feel up. It's not just a 1-for-1 trade. And even when you miss, there's a little consolation prize.
So you get the Scry.
Yeah, it's a nice design. This is discard done the right way. Narrow, precision tool, and when it works, the person casting it is actually up a little bit. They feel good about it. Especially since Caleb cannot beat Weaver of Lightning. Look at the creatures he's playing with.
Tough. Another Dread Wanderer. Jason can untap. He'll draw. Incendiary Flow, the draw.
And with Magma Sprays and Incendiary Flows, he even has a lot of removal that exiles.
Yes.
It's nice.
Gift of the Aetherborn. In Caleb's hand now. There's a hub. Caleb will get an energy. He does have a copy of Never to Return, so he can kill Thermo Alchemist if he wants. Looks like he does want to. Jason will hit him for 1. We might see a Magma Spray here to take care of one of these Dread Wanderers. We do. That'll untap the Alchemist, ping you for 1 again. And I think when this turns over, it'll be 18 all, and players will exchange some cards. We're going to go over to Jason now. Jason will draw a card. It's a mountain. Picked up another copy of Thermal Alchemist, so he'll play that. Again, remember his hand right now Incendiary Flow, which he'll play right now to get rid of the Dreadwander, and now he has one more Incendiary Flow left in hand. Caleb will draw. Collective Brutality.
Caleb is really going deep on the discard spells here.
Has Transgress in hand, too. There's Gift. Jason will draw. Hit you for 1. I think we might see Incendiary Flow here. Yep. I'll take care of Gift of the Aetherborn. And play an island, pass the turn back. I like playing land here because now you draw Glorybringer, just cast it. You can fire up Wandering Fumarole, all that stuff. Night Market Lookout. Walking Ballista. Pass the turn back, shoot you for 1. Caleb can fall down to 16. Jason will untap.
A lot of big draws.
He is somewhat now incentivized, now that he has 5 lands. He's somewhat now incentivized to leave lands in his hand that he does draw in case he finds something like a Collective Defiance, I think.
Well, the other argument is he has Bedlam Reveler in his deck. So that's an argument to continue to play your lands. Because you want to be able to go Bedlam Reveler, draw a land and 2 spells that require me to play the land in my hand to cast everything. Now he has Gyroreach Sanitarium, so there's an argument there on the other side for just, hold it just in case. But I think the Bedlam Revelers make a compelling argument.
Wandering Fumarole is going to get activated, and there will be a block here in the Night Market Lookout, and Thermal Alchemist will jump in front of the Walking Ballista.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this was on Caleb's radar here, if he's made this attack and had nothing to answer the Fumarole.
I think we're going to have Collective Brutality to finish off the Thermal Alchemist. And then the Drain as well, discarding Transgress the Mind because Transgress is not going to do anything for the rest of this game.
Caleb is loaded up with way more discard than I would like to be in his spot. I think that Bennet's deck just draws too well off the top to try to get, 2 threats and rip apart his hand and hold off for the whole game. I just don't think that's happening.
Fumarole going to attack and spin, it looks like, which in the face of Walking Ballista, it's kind of a...
I mean, if I'm in Bennett's spot, if I'm up 6 mana to 4 and the battlefield is empty, I feel like I'm a huge favorite to win this game.
I would too.
Because
both of us playing the top of our deck?
Yeah. He's like, he has Chandra's, Glory Bringers, and Bedlam Revelers, and removal spells against the cards Sherer has cast so far.
Yep, that'll take care of that one. Take 2. Yeah, Jason's average draw is so much higher than Caleb's, it's frightening. And he also gets to do this.
And he has a Fumarole. Yeah. He's just...
Yeah, I think he's in great shape right now. Grasp of Darkness, not a bad draw here for Caleb. There's Night Market Lookout. Jason will draw. Yep, let's go again. There's Grasp. Any follow-ups? Nope, just another Fumarole. Bad news.
Yeah, Bennett's drawn nothing but spells for like 4 straight turns. It's still 5.
Yep.
Just kind of flooding out here a little bit.
Caleb, I think, drew a copy of Walking Ballista. Yep, 2 of those. Weird game, but it is a game. I think maybe another land there. Yep. Pass.
See, now I think I would hold in hand now at this point because I think we've hit the point where he can't really Reveler into a sequence where he wouldn't be able to play everything, and the other discard elements of the deck, I think, make an argument for holding the land back. And I guess you're never totally out of the woods because you can Reveler into Reveler and whatever.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
Attack step. Thump. Is this a free block?
It is not.
No?
Because if you can't make it a 4-1, and if you go and block, Caleb can go pump it to a 3-3 after combat, shoot it for 1.
Yep. Bad shape, though, because now Jason's down to 6. Let's see what he draws now. He really needs Glorybringer, I think.
A spell.
Yeah, also that. Gift of the Aetherborn. Trigger, puts you down to 5. Activate here. Oh, where are we going to block? Oh, boy. Got to block there, huh? Activate, maybe. Yep. put a counter here. Yep. That's going to kill that. He'll take one and fall down to 4. So this is dead on the battlefield, I think. No, because there's a damage on it, so not dead on the battlefield. Okay. Now he can kill him if he wants to. Draw a card.
Also, if he goes for the kill there, even if there weren't damage on it, disallow could muck it up.
Yep.
So you might as well just let.
There's no rush. Attack for lethal. Trigger. Go down to 3. A shock, and I think that's like a tormenting voice.
Yeah, another argument for holding the land back, but whatever.
That's what it is. Caleb Sherer going to win this match over Jason Bennet. 2-1. That mono-black aggro deck with a lot of commons and uncommons and very few rares is 6-0.
Well, if you are constrained by budget, we got deck tech for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, which Caleb, I don't believe is, based off of his previous accomplishments on the SCG Tour, but he feels like what's going on here is pretty good.
Well, I mean, the black removal is probably the best in the format, and I think there is an argument for even the more aggressive decks in the format do fumble around a little bit, and if you can get on top of them and play a couple removal spells, that's a fine strategy and also a fine way of managing planeswalkers naturally. A lot of the planeswalkers come onto the battlefield and make a thing or kill one thing. If you're on the slow side, that's going to be very powerful. If you're beating down and presenting a wide battlefield, then you can simply, remove the 1 token from Gideon and attack Gideon down. Or Chandra kills one thing, all right, cool, finish it off with one of my other creatures lingering around.
Sure.
So I suspect this deck is ultimately not going to be very good because I think, first of all, the raw card quality is too low, and this deck isn't doing anything with its lands, which I think beatdown decks need to do to be able to hang in the late game. But if you're looking to take care, capitalize on shaky mana bases and people who are a little bit slow, you can do this sort of thing.
Strikes me as a little too fair. Is the way that I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at a deck where Walking Ballista is a very good card, Dread Wanderer is okay, Night Market Lookout is okay, Glint Sleeve Siphoner I actually think is actively good. I think Scrapheap Scrounger is good, and some of the removal here is good. But I mean, we're looking at decks that are loaded up with rares and mythics and Gideons and Heart of Kieran and all that stuff. And this deck is just kind of lacking that real punch, that real oomph. I mean, don't get me wrong, Caleb's 6-0. He's off to a great start.
Yeah, 6-0, 6-0.
He is probably locked into day 2. So we're going to see more of him, and we're going to see how this deck does perform over the course of 15 rounds. But if you're looking at kind of bigger picture stuff, I'm kind of with you. I'm not sure how long this deck kind of lasts past this tournament.
Yeah, decks like this in my history of playing with them and against them need something like Mutavault to give you another threat, something to do with your mana, something to protect yourself from sweepers and so forth. So we'll see, but 6-0 is 6-0. And I'm sure we'll continue watching Caleb more, if not today, then probably tomorrow, which, as you mentioned, he should be locked for now.
This Thermal Alchemist deck, blue-red, we've seen various types of this type of deck over the past year, I would say. Todd Anderson has brewed with blue-red decks back when